everybody, Joe Joseph here for thedailysheeple.com, and this is your news shot. Activist Post had a great piece today. A shadowy corporate lobby is quietly trying to ban protesting across the U.S. Now, you might say to yourself, well, how could that happen with the First Amendment firmly in place? Well, get a load of this. It says so many anti-protest bills have been passed since Trump's election that the ACLU has launched its own interactive map just to track the legislation. At the writing of this piece, at least 25 bills have been introduced across 18 different states. Unsurprisingly, the North Dakota state legislature has the most anti-protest bills of all the states, with 6 introduced since November. And what's striking about the statewide legislation, however, is not the quantity of the bills, but the similarities between them. Now, when the anti-media first began monitoring the trend in November, Washington State Senator Doug Erickson had announced plans to introduce a bill that would criminalize demonstrators as economic terrorists. Get that. In March, North Carolina also passed a bill creating a criminal classification for economic terrorism. See the trend? Now, by January, 5 other anti-protest bills had emerged in the states across the country, including a particularly contentious bill introduced in North Dakota that would exempt motorists from charges if they accidentally hit a demonstrator on the freeway. A nearby identical bill was introduced in Florida on the same day, and another version was introduced in Tennessee. Other sets near identical legislation include Missouri and North Dakota bills that would prohibit the use of masks during protests, and bills introduced in Oklahoma and North Dakota that would increase penalties for trespassing on critical infrastructure facilities, such as crude oil pipelines. Now, this is not to mention the entire crop of anti-obstruction bills introduced in 7 different states that would increase penalties for protesters who obstruct traffic. And while some of these bills are unique, like the Oregon bill that would require community colleges or public universities to expel any student convicted of rioting, the majority of the bills share a strikingly similar theme and language that would appear that the state legislatures are, they're talking to one another. And sometimes they do, but oftentimes there is a lobbying group behind it or a think tank. Well, the National Lawyers Guild, Tracy Yoder, explains that it's become common practice for special interest groups to draft model legislation at both the state and federal level that can be difficult to say with certainty who or what's behind the current wave of anti-protest legislation, but there's a suspect, and that suspect is the American Legislative Exchange Council, or ALEC. And if you don't know what ALEC is, check out that special interest group. And I'll put it that lightly. That's putting it very lightly. ALEC wields an enormous amount of power. And if you don't know about some of their initiatives, you should really, really check it out. Because they've been on a push to basically death by a million paper cuts to the First Amendment. This whole economic terrorism thing, they thought it up. Economic terrorism. Who's the real economic terrorist? That's the question. That's who you have to ask yourself. Is it the people protesting? Or is it the people that they're protesting? I don't think it's the protestors. I think it's who they're protesting that's the real terrorist. Why don't we prosecute them? How come we're prosecuting the people that are just trying to get accountability out there? I don't understand it. It is not economic terrorism that these people are perpetrating on the banksters, the fraudsters. It's the other way around. And until we hold these fraudsters to account, nothing, my friends, is going to change. And they will never, under any circumstances, no matter what legislation they pass, will they ever be able to stop people from protesting. I'm Joe Joseph. This was thedailysheeple.com's news shot. Feel free to comment below and visit our website at thedailysheeple.com. Have a great day, everybody.